Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius, the official energy drink of pewterreport.com. Happy Victory Monday, Bucs fans. It feels like a double Victory Monday because not only did the Bucs take care of business, throttling the Carolina Panthers 48-14, but the Washington Commanders, we were Commanders fans last night for Sunday Night Football. The Commanders also took care of business, defeating the Falcons in overtime, thus making the Bucs the leader in the NFC South and controlling their own destiny, where they just have to beat the Saints next week and they will win the division. It was a dramatic game. It was a lot of fun, and glad that the Commanders came out on the right side. So we got a lot to break down with the Bucs, and we'll talk a little Falcons Commanders too. I'm your host, Matt and Tara. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at pewterreport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. Scott, a happy Victory Monday to you.
Yes, absolutely. It's a double Victory Monday. I'm with you, Matt. Not only did the Buccaneers win, they did their part, but the Washington Commanders helped the Bucs out. I guess I can't call them the Commodes anymore. You know, I grew up a Washington Redskins fan as a kid.
At least for a week.
Yeah, I didn't like the name change, and so I've been calling them the Commodes. But I guess they earned the Commanders role. And the funny thing is there's a lot that could happen in Week 18. The Buccaneers can win the division with the win. They can win the NFC South, of course, with that win. And they can also be the number 4 seed or the number 3 seed. And they can play one of 4 different teams, the Commanders being one of those. They could play the loser of the NFC North, whether that's the Vikings or the Lions. And they could also play the Rams, right? Is that one of the teams? So
Rams, yeah. I mean, they have a good shot to win the division. So
yeah, so we wouldn't be doing
in the second round.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot still to be decided in Week 18. And, of course, Tampa Bay has got to do their job. They've been granted this bit of destiny here by the football gods. And we talked about it. The pressure was on the Falcons last night after the Bucs won, just like it was on the Bucs on Sunday night in Dallas after the Falcons won. So it all evened out. Just win on Sunday, Tampa Bay, and your NFC South champions yet again. And you'll be hosting another playoff game. Opponent to be determined.
It's as simple as that. And I feel like I said this last year when the Bucs had to beat the Panthers, and they did 9-0 in Carolina. This one, they are home and playing the Saints.
Yeah,
they have no one to blame but themselves at this point. This is a very winnable game. It's not Derek Carr. It's Spencer Rattler. Yeah. This is a team that they should go out and probably beat by the same score, 48-14. Like, this game should not be close. There should be nothing in doubt. I don't care about the history of the Saints being, 5-1 in their last 6 in Raymond James Stadium or whatever the stat is. I understand that. It's an important stat for other games, other weeks, but not the last week of the season. Win and you're in. We're talking about a completely different-looking Saints team at the beginning of the year. So just win the damn game. I mean, we can reflect on the Panthers game as well, but I don't know. It was utter domination. I don't know what more we really need to talk about. It's win and you get in, and we'll be doing more of these shows, more celebrating, more Victory Mondays. Just beat the Saints on Sunday.
Yeah, it's that simple. And I think the other thing to keep in mind too is the Saints lost to the Las Vegas Raiders 25-10 yesterday. I mean, they didn't even put up a fight, and the Raiders are awful. The Raiders are in the running for the number 1 overall pick in the draft. A crazy day. The Giants decided to rise up. It's almost like the hot potato for the number 1 pick. I don't want it. You take it. No. I don't want it. Yeah. You have it. It's like, it's crazy. But yeah, so to me, the only sticking point is just history. For whatever reason, the Saints play exceptionally well in Tampa Bay. They're 5-1 at Raymond James Stadium in the last 6 years. Now, this is by far the worst Saints team that will be coming to Ray J, because, you go back 6 years, Drew Brees is still playing for the Saints, for heaven's sake. But we've even seen Taysom Hill as a backup quarterback come in here and beat the Buccaneers 9-0 with Tom Brady as quarterback. That was a brutal game where Tampa Bay lost Chris Godwin for the rest of the year. Mike Evans was knocked out of the game. Leonard Fournette was knocked out of the game. It was kind of a fluky thing. I believe that was a game where Dennis Allen coached because
Peyton had COVID or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Sean Payton had COVID or was suspended, something like that. So yeah, it's happened before. But as I wrote about in my upcoming 2-point conversion column, and I'll give you all a sneak preview, the only team that can beat the Buccaneers, truthfully, is themselves at this point. If they don't turn the ball over, and there were no turnovers yesterday, if they don't have an egregious amount of costly penalties, this team can score 30 points like that on anybody. And that if that happens, you see how the defense reacts. You see how Todd Bowles can open up the playbook. The sacks come, 3-and-outs come, right? And all of a sudden their opponent is on their heels. We saw that out in the first game against the Saints, Matt, where they shut out the Saints 27-0. We saw that in LA when they shut out the Chargers. Was it 27-0, I think, in the second half. And then another shutout yesterday, 21-0 in the halftime, after halftime of the Panthers game. So when this team gets off to that hot start, and the flukiest stat of all, they're now 9-1 when they score first in games, and they're 0-6 when they don't. But Matt, if this team gets off to a hot start against the Saints, it very well could be another massive blowout like it was yesterday at Ray J.
I have to remember that. It's a live bet, either the Bucs to win or the Bucs to lose, depending on who scores first in the game. Yeah. But I almost think that if you're the Bucs, depending on how the coin toss goes, even if you win it, just take the football. I know typically the right move is to defer and get the ball in the second half, and that is the right move. But if you're the Bucs, and the way that you score and the way that you just look like a locomotive when you first get the ball and immediately march down the field like in 10 seconds, why not get the ball first and just go and score and say, all right, we're not playing around today. We're going to kick your ass, and we're going to do it from the first kickoff until the final whistle, the final kneel down of the game. So, I'm all for the Bucs maybe getting the ball first, or if the Saints win it, hopefully they defer. But, I mean,
it was crazy.
Says, violence, speed, momentum. That's kind of how the Bucs play. Violence, speed, and momentum. They already have a rallying cry with a duck, but that might be their
right.
Put it up in the locker room somewhere.
The quack attack,
motivated.
Yesterday in the press box, we all looked at each other. We had Isaiah, our intern, there, and Adam Slavon and Bailey Adams. And when the Panthers won the coin toss, elected to defer, we all looked at each other and said, "Well, the Bucs are going to win this." I mean, it's just that simple. You give Baker Mayfield the ball. Touchdown. I mean, game over. It's the only time that didn't happen was against the Baltimore Ravens. The Bucs got out to a 10-0 win on Monday Night Football. It's the only time this team has not won when they've scored first. So it's a hell of a stat. It's been shrugged off inside of one Buccaneer place. It very well may be fluky, but you know what? They added another digit to that, going from 8-1 to now 9-1 when scoring first. So hopefully that's the case for the rest of the way out for the Buccaneers. When you look at last night's game against the Panthers, against the Commanders, the Falcons game, what a thrilling game that was, right? That was pretty exciting. I can't believe Todd Bowles didn't even stay up to watch the game. He said, "I just saw the score in the morning and I watched some of the highlights." I'm like, come on, man. Like, I know he is the king of control what you can control, and all of that, but come on, like that was a fun, entertaining game. Plus, you might be playing the Commanders in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So why not get a little bit of scouting? I don't know. I guess he had his milk and cookies and went to bed. And I mean that literally. He likes milk and cookies. I'm not making fun of Todd Bowles. That's his preferred vice of choice is milk and cookies.
So I'm very curious. Like, does Todd wake up? Does he go on his phone and be like, I hope the Commanders won. Like, what's the anxiety? What is the stress of, like, is he just checking his phone? Does he turn on the TV and be like, "Come on, ESPN, get to the Sunday night game"? Like, does he log onto his laptop and be like, "All right, I need to know the score. Like, are we winning the division? Are we leading the division?" I'm curious, like, the sense of
He's too chill.
panic or
Yeah.
because you don't know. Like I'm wondering how worried he was like as he got up that morning. But yeah, what a thrilling game. Like I honestly don't think the Falcons played that well. Like I don't think
I
they
know.
looked that good. It was more the Commanders like getting in there, very much playing like the Bucs when the Bucs
Yeah.
struggle, getting in their own way. Jane Daniels had a turnover in the first half, like as they were in the red zone. I don't think the Falcons looked that good. They obviously hung around and they scored late to tie it up. But man, the missed field goal, landing short, like that's absolute drama. And then the fact that the Commanders got the ball first, which has been a storyline for the Bucs of not getting the ball in overtime and losing because of it.
How about the camera angle? The camera angle on that kick, it looked like it went through, you know?
Yeah,
and all of a sudden it's like, because it's from the back of the kicker and you can't gauge the distance, right? And all of a sudden, like you're looking at the refs and they're like, doing like, nope, didn't make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a very poetic type of
it was.
Like I legitimately felt like I was watching the Bucs as they played the Falcons. I get it.
Yeah.
Different teams. I'm not going to confuse Jaden Daniels with Baker Mayfield or, I guess you could confuse Bijan Robinson and Bucky Irving. They're two great running backs. But yeah, Steve Shute says the best. Falcons are falconing again.
Yep.
And I like Michael Penix Jr. I think he's going to be a pretty good quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
But it also felt like every time he dropped back that he was going to fumble the football, which is a good thing for the Bucs and the Commanders. He fumbled it a couple of times.
Yep.
And yeah, just a really exciting game. A good way to cap off a good slate of football with the Bucs dominating and then taking first place via the Commanders beating the Falcons. So a really fun game to watch.
It was. It's always fun on Mondays, win or lose, because we do roll call, and we'll be doing that in about 6 minutes here at 4:20. So, Matt, do you have a topic today? And it's been a busy day with all of our content up there.
I did one last week. I mean, I'm happy to
I can do one.
I
got one in me.
The division.
I got one in me.
All right, cool.
We'll do it. But and I'm going to steal it from Josh Capo because I thought he did a great job with the story that's coming out tomorrow. So I'm going to give Josh some credit for it. But yeah, so we got that coming up in about 5 minutes now. I think the thing to do is probably get to some of these super chats that we have coming in and a couple of other choice comments. But let's start off with Virgin Boys here with the $9.99 super chat.
Yes, thank you very much. Says McMillan is tied with McConkey and Marvin Harrison Jr. for second in rookie receiving touchdowns. And he has more touchdowns than the other two drafted Husky wide receivers. That's Roma Dunze and Jalen Polk that were drafted before him combined. Let's freaking go. Yeah, the emergence of Jalen McMillan and scoring the touchdown specifically, 6 in his last 4, has been a godsend for the Buccaneers. I don't know how else to say it. It has made their offense already good. It's made it great based on what Jalen McMillan is able to do. So I'm super happy to see him really ball out, and the Bucs needed it too.
Yeah, and he really has kind of been that complimentary piece when you look at his ability to find the end zone, be trusted to catch the ball. Hey, I won $120 on his 2 touchdowns on that prop bet yesterday, so I was pretty excited about that. It's like, Mike had 2 touchdowns to start with. I'm like, okay, throw the ball to Jalen. It's as any prop bettor would do, being selfish, or any fantasy footballer. If you've got Jalen McMillan on your fantasy team, would do. And it came through. And I'm excited for him because I talked to him after the game. He really struggled at the beginning of the season. And this is not college. This is professional football. It's a job, and you got to treat your body like a temple because it's your office. Your body is your office, right? It's where you work, and you work on the hands, you work on the legs, you work on your upper body, you work on everything from separation to catching the ball to blocking to recovery in the training room with the trainers. And keeping your body at optimal performance. And that's something he struggled with earlier in the season with those hamstring injuries. And it's just great to see him really come around, and really be that number 2. And this offense is just going to be so much more potent and effective next year with Chris Godwin. And we talked about it in last night's Peter Report podcast, having Payne Durham really step up and show that he can be, a good option if Cade Otton is injured. And then the emergence of Devin Culp, who has big playability. He's the fastest of all of the tight ends. So they're probably going to add another wide receiver to the mix. I think Trey Palmer's star is falling out of the sky here in Tampa. Not that it was really that bright to begin with, but I think this team will draft another wide receiver, as well as a slew of defensive players. Let's throw that out there too. But they're so stocked at running back. They're stocked at tight end now. You add one more playmaking wide receiver. So if you lose Mike or Chris for a game or two or both,
right,
it's not just Jalen McMillan and Ryan Miller and Raheem Jarrett and those type of guys. If you get another McMillan caliber player in this offense, not only do you have another weapon to rotate in and out when Mike or Chris need a breather, but you have some insurance policies in case something happens to one of those guys, or you can put all four of them out there at the same time, go four wide and have four legit weapons for opponents to really have to be concerned with.
And you never want a player to be injured. You do have to be prepared for it. But let's not forget, I mean, the offense didn't lose much of a step even when Mike was out. And we were talking about without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. So, I think the Bucs should reserve maybe fourth round pick for a wide receiver for next season. And then, just stack the defense. Edge rusher, corner, linebacker, over and over and over again. Double up on each position. I'm all for it. I want to get to a couple of comments that I enjoyed as well. Greg DeCruz says, everyone knows that a duck is smarter than a falcon. Yes, of course. The duck is now kind of a mascot of the Buccaneers. I hope it's right next to Captain Fear for the next game when they play against the Saints on the pirate ship as well. Wasp bringing up a good point. This will be Cam Jordan's last NFL game. I don't know that for sure, but I mean, he is an older guy who's been in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
For all the trash that Cam Jordan has talked and not really backed it up with his team, I mean, he's never won a Super Bowl. But, man, if it is his last game, for him to play his final game at Raymond James Stadium, the Bucs beat him and they win another division title, man, that's for the Bucs, that's a great way for him to go out. Like, how could you not love that? And Brian Molinaro says, if Penix was quarterback the entire season, they would be in a better spot now. The only team Kirk could beat was the Bucs. That's probably true, but not the Bucs' problem. That is next year's problem. That's season's problem. But I do agree. I think there's a lot of optimism about Michael Penix. But again, we'll worry about that next season.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to worry about where all of you are watching, listening from. We're not really worried about it, but we're interested in it. And we do this little thing. It's fun, win or lose, on Mondays. And in the offseason, every Monday truly is a victory Monday because there's no losses in the offseason. But we're not there yet.
Correct.
And it looks like we're going to be a little bit further away from the offseason if the Buccaneers do their job on Sunday, Matt, and win, because then we'll have some playoff hopefully games to talk about. But it's this little thing that we do, and you all love it, and we love you. And it's called
It is Roll Call. We want to know, where are you at, Peter people? We do this every Monday show. We love doing it so much because we appreciate you, our fan base, the Peter people, Bucs fans, and we have fans from all over. So we do this every Monday where we want to know where you're watching from. So one of us will go on a conversation about the Bucs. That'll be Scott today. In the meantime, put in the comments where you are watching from. We'll put it up on the screen, like Diesel Roche, who's representing in Houston. Let's go Ducks, as he says as well. And Scott, whenever you're ready, we will continue this gravy train.
Yeah, one thing that's really special about this Bucs offense, and again, I'm giving Josh Capos some credit here, is the ability for everybody in this offense to really level up. I mentioned Trey Palmer, the receiver who's kind of fallen out of favor with the team. I mean, he does punt returns, but I don't think he's going to make the team next year. Maybe he will. He'll be back in camp, and he'll have to battle for maybe at the number 5 or 6 spot on the depth chart at wide receiver. But every single player that was here last year on offense is better this year than they were last year. Think about that for a second. Think about the job that Liam Cohen and his coaching staff has done. Literally every single player on offense has gotten better. If you look at Baker Mayfield,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he's had a phenomenal season, right? I mean, 39 touchdowns. He needs 4 more touchdowns on Sunday to pass Tom Brady for the most in a single season in Tampa Bay history. Brady had 40 in 2020. He had 43, which is the record. In 2021, Baker's sitting at 39 right now. That's remarkable. And you look at the offensive line, right? Cody Mauch, probably the most improved player on this team. I should say on the offensive side of the ball for sure, maybe on the team. Pro Bowls are in his future. The right guard is really a stellar player. Graham Barton has been an upgrade over Robert Hainsey. Ben Bredesen has been an upgrade over the combination of Matt Filer and Aaron Stinney last year. Tristan Wirfs having his best season and deserves to be an all-pro at left tackle. Luke Gedeke leveled up. He's going to get paid big time at right tackle. The only player statistically that maybe is not better this year is Rachaad White, but that's only because of the emergence of Bucky Irving, right? Rachaad White has become a better player. He's a more urgent runner. The stats aren't there because they've been cut into by Bucky Irving, and Bucky Irving's just a better running back. But Rachaad White has taken his game to the next level. Overall, it's just not showing up in the statistical column in terms of rushing yards and receiving yards because of the presence of Bucky Irving. But he's a better pass protector. I think he's doing a better job catching the ball. And again, more urgent runner. Cade Otton, if not for Cody Mauch, Cade Otton might be the most improved player on the offense. Tremendous blocker, and that was really kind of a shortcoming. And he's really shown that he can be a featured receiver if given the opportunity. We saw what Payne Durham did in the game on Sunday as well as a reserve tight end, catching his first touchdown pass, as well as a couple of scores there. Mike Evans already has over 10 touchdowns now, and he'll have another 1,000-yard season. Is he better? Oh, well, he would have been if not for those 3.5 games he missed, right? Statistically speaking, he would have had a better year than he did last year. But Mike is just great every year. So he probably is the one player that doesn't necessarily have to level up because he's already leveled up. But it's just remarkable how better coaching across the board on offense, a new receivers coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive line coach, a new tight ends coach, Skip Pete deserves plaudits for the job that he's done as the running backs coach. But even that unit has leveled up with Sean Tucker's improvement as well. But it really is just remarkable to see how this offense at every stinking position has gotten better this year. And I'll tell you what, if Tampa Bay's defense can undergo the same type of metamorphosis next year and level up at outside linebacker, inside linebacker, cornerback, safety, and I think it's going to have to come with new coaches on that staff, whether Todd Bowles is here or not. If Todd Bowles is here, if I'm Jason Light and the Glazers, I'm demanding some changes. I'm demanding a youth movement along that coaching staff because we've seen the impact of what it can do to bring in new, better, fresh, younger voices into the rooms on offense. And it's had a remarkable impact. And I think the same thing can happen next year on defense for the Buccaneers. And look out, if Liam Combs stays here, whether Todd Bowles stays on as head coach and Liam's the offensive coordinator and the head coach in waiting, or whatever happens, if the same type of improvement across the board can happen on defense, this will be a Super Bowl, not contender, maybe a Super Bowl favorite in 2025.
I think you make a bunch of fantastic points, Scott, and I fully agree. Not just being a Super Bowl contender, but a team that isn't getting talked about right now in December and going into January, but a team in October where you're saying, wow, the Bucs are going to lobby and they are going to compete for the number 1 seed and to get that first round bye, which has not happened in a very, very, very long time. So this team is ready up for the future, and I'm not sure how many other teams can truly say that. Like the Vikings, for example, I think are a good one because what do you do with Sam Darnold? Do you go with J.J. McCarthy? Do you stay with Sam Darnold, who's got you a team that only has 2 losses on the season and is playing for the number 1 seed in the last game of the season? there are a lot of worse spots to be in than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. They're not perfect this season. Lord knows we've talked about a lot of their issues, but there is a lot to like about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, almost as much as there is to like about, and I should say love about, because we love Celsius energy drinks, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com. I love the Arctic Vibe. That's my favorite Celsius energy drink. Check out all the flavors they got, like the sparkling watermelon lemonade as well. If you need to know where to find a Celsius energy drink, head on over to the Celsius store locator on their website. Punch in their address, and I'll tell you the closest location where you can pick one up. Might be a Walmart, a Piggly Wiggly, a Publix, a Stop and Shop, or your bodega.
Bodega.
And after you keep going to your bodega and you know you love Celsius and you want more, maybe you want it in bulk, you can buy it in bulk over on Amazon with the subscribe and save, have it sent to your place of residence whenever you want. I'd recommend that variety pack because there's so many fantastic flavors of Celsius, and get it sent to your place of residence whenever you want. It's at your own leisure. Just make sure you're drinking Celsius energy drinks, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com. We have some more super chats to get to, and thank you everybody for super chatting us today. We really appreciate it. Bill Vincent kind of goes with what, Scott, you talked a little bit about today on your rant. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, can we give a little love to our guards? They have been one of the biggest surprises of the season. Yeah, Cody Mauch in particular. Ben Bredesen. Yeah. I think the expectations were pretty low for Ben Bredesen, and he has exceeded every single one of them. He's been good, and Cody Mauch is a future stud if he's not already a stud.
Yeah. Yeah, there's my dog Moose right there guarding the house, which I appreciate. But no, Ben Bredesen will kick your ass even without a helmet, as you see here in this photo against the Eagles. So yeah. He will block for Bucky Irving, helmet or not. So yeah, a great find by Jason Light and the Bucs front office. You can't, and maybe Elijah Klein is the guy next year, the guy that's kind of been Hopper, the 6th round pick, right? He's kind of waiting in the wings. I think maybe you bring back Bredesen, and then you let Cody Mauch stay at right guard, and you let Elijah Klein and Bredesen kind of duke it out right there. And if Bredesen ends up being your backup, he's not that expensive. He'll probably be a 1-year deal again. And I think the great thing too is maybe Robert Hainsey moves on because he's the backup center. He might want an opportunity to start elsewhere. I think he'll get it. I think he's good enough to start elsewhere. But then Ben Bredesen has played center before, so really you're bringing back a guy that could be your swing center and guard next year, and Bredesen, and then you might even draft another offensive lineman to throw in the mix as well, because you always want to keep restocking that. The Buccaneers have been remarkably healthy along the offensive line this year. I know Wirfs has battled a couple of injuries. Justin School has played some for Wirfs, as well as Luke Gedeke, who missed 4 games with a concussion. But by and large, it's been a pretty healthy unit. The one game that Hainsey really started happened to be a really good one in New Orleans in place of Graham Barton. But I wouldn't mind this team drafting another offensive lineman. I love when Jason Light drafts offensive lineman. It's the best position that he has drafted in Tampa Bay. So, throw another guy in the mix, re-sign Bredesen, and just continue to bolster and solidify this offensive line going forward.
We've gotten on Jason case about, not being able to draft running backs up until Bucky Irving. He's clearly righted that wrong.
Yeah.
His
outside linebacker is now the issue.
Outside linebacker, edge rusher. But nobody knows the trenches and specifically offensive linemen the way Jason Light does. And I'm all for bringing back Ben Bredesen. Stuff to say with all the B's in a row.
Yeah, I know.
Give him a little bit of a raise where, it's not going to break the bank for the Buccaneers, but it won't take much convincing where we say, hey, we're going to give you more money. Come back and you'll compete for a starting job once again. I mean, let's remember, this man was on the New York Giants. The Giants, although they beat the Colts yesterday, stink, and they are a terrible team. He's got to be loving the situation that he walked into with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Thanks to Joe for this $1.99 super chat. Says, Raheem clock management before halftime. Fire Raheem Morris. I mean, they're not going to fire him after 1 year.
Yeah.
trying to rack my brain. I don't remember specifically what happened at the end of the second quarter. But hey, if it helped the Bucs, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, Raheem did not have the best night calling the game, I think, from a game management standpoint. But to the Bucs' favor, we're not going to sit here and crow and cry about it. I mean, it helped the Buccaneers out, so that's Atlanta's problem to deal with.
Right. Steve Shute, thank you for the $20 super chat.
Thank you very
mighty
much,
kind of
Thank
you. Says fans need to bring duck callers to Ray J for the home finale against the Saints. Liam Cohen's game plan could not be stopped, and Bowles' defense shut down the Panthers' run game. One more thing, Falcons gonna Falcon. Let's freaking go. Yes, Scott, you've made that term famous, at least in the Pewter Report podcast world and with the Pewter people. We all wanted the Commanders to win. They won in dramatic fashion. And I agree. I mean, hopefully they beat the Saints next week. I'm predicting the Saints will. I'm sure a lot of us on Pewter Report will. If you're another opponent playing against the Bucs in the playoffs, I don't want to go against this Bucs offense. I really don't, because they will throw everything at you. I mean, I'm just imagining right now what Liam Cohen hasn't called yet that he's saving like for the playoffs or for a big moment. That excites me even more.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, appreciate that super chat very much. Thank you. And I think the thing too to remember is, they're playing Spencer Rattler next week, unless they make a change. I don't know that they're going to, because it seems like they're going in that direction right now while Derek Carr's out. But we could see another big game from the Bucs pass rush. I mean, Chris Braswell got a sack. Yaya Diaby got a sack. Logan Hall has 5.5 sacks now. Logan, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Talk about long-term development.
That you're going to be a bust. What happened? It's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is.
And I mean, it's good to see these young players finally get home. It's going to only help them with their confidence getting into the playoffs. Jason Light, I think, did a really good job of bringing back Shaq Barrett. We talked to Todd Bowles about it last night. He was asked about it today. There was a chance that Shaq he will practice this week, but he could play against the Saints on Sunday. I think that's a good thing. I mean, Jose Ramirez, love you, bud, but you're not doing anything. So you might as well let Shaq play and put him out there as a pass rush specialist. Just having this guy in the building, I think, is huge. If you go back to the first Super Bowl team in 2002, John Gruden signed Lomas Brown, who was a former Florida Gator offensive tackle who played many years with the Giants. He just was old, right? He's just one of those old, wily veterans who was kind of the swing tackle. I don't even know if he played it down in 2002, but he brought him in because Kenyatta Walker was a first-round pick by the Buccaneers who was struggling at left tackle, had a bit of an ego, and Gruden did the right thing. He got a veteran in there with Roman Oben at left tackle in free agency, also from the Giants, and moved Kenyatta Walker to right tackle, where he was a much better fit. And Kenyatta Walker thrived that year, helped the Buccaneers win Super Bowl 37. And if you ask Kenyatta Walker to this day, the mentorship that another Gator, because Kenyatta Walker was a Florida Gator, provided to him, taking him under his wing, helping to coach him, was invaluable that season. And so having Shaq Barrett back, even for a week or two, the boost that it can do from the sidelines to see all those young pass rushers kind of erupt, Logan Hall, Yaya Diaby, Chris Braswell, who had never played with Shaq Barrett because he's a rookie this year, it's a good thing. And so it certainly doesn't help. And I think maybe this is a little bit of maybe secret ingredient that could help this defense kind of come to life, because you're not going to be playing Bryce Young or Spencer Rattler in the playoffs. You're going to be playing Jared Goff, right? Sam Darnold, Jaden Daniels, guys like that are way better. Maybe Jalen Hurts, those types of players. And you better come to play, and you better get the quarterback on the ground. And so I like the move, and we'll see. I'd love to see Shaq Barrett on the field in uniform on Sunday against the Saints. I think that would be pretty cool.
Right, the more the merrier. Just the way that's gone for the outside linebackers this year, and I love that as soon as Shaq Barrett steps foot in Tampa, immediately the pass rush gets better and the outside linebackers make a lot of big plays. So love to see it. Also, by the way, John Gruden and Todd Bowles got together on Saturday at the Michigan practice. Michigan's playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Alabama this week. So current and former Bucs getting together. Very cool to see. JD Foster, thank you for the $2.79 super chat, says, is Dre Greenlaw an option in the summer?
I'd love for that to be the case. He is a great linebacker, tremendous in coverage. I loved him coming out of Arkansas back in the day, and it was a great day 3 pick. We'll see. The whole thing with free agency is you got to remember it's do they make it to free agency, right? I know that John Lynch happens to be a big Dre Greenlaw fan as well, and will do everything he can to try to keep him in gold and red out there in San Francisco. So yes, the short answer is yes. I think he is an option for sure if he makes it to free agency. There are some injuries that you have to be kind of concerned about too. He has not been the healthiest player, but if he makes it, he's certainly in the discussion. It's not a great linebacker draft. It's a better linebacker free agent class. And I think Tampa Bay will certainly go out and get a free agent linebacker. My guess is that KJ Britt won't be back. And Levante David, if I had to guess, I think Levante retires at the end of this year.
Yeah, we'll see. There's definitely going to be a changing of the guard at inside linebacker.
Yeah, he'll be 35 in January. And there was one little telling thing that we saw at the stadium as they were coming out prior to the game. Levante David kind of was spending time with his little daughter in the tunnel, and picking her up and showing, her the field and all that stuff. And when those moments kind of happen, you kind of feel like the end is near. Like this might be the last run for the great Levante David. We'll see. But if I had to guess, I would say Sunday's game might be the last regular season game for Levante David in red and pewter, but we'll see.
So make sure if you're at Raymond James Stadium, you give him a standing ovation. Bucs Basement, thanks for the $5 super chat, says the Todd Bowles debate is pretty simple. You don't let an offensive coordinator walk out the door no matter what. If Cohen is willing to stay as an offensive coordinator, then fine. It's going to be a dramatic offseason this year, regardless of how it ends. I mean, other than the Bucs losing on Sunday, and then it's like, all right, well, you're probably going to fire Todd Bowles based on you couldn't beat the Saints to get into the playoffs, and you went 9-8. But outside of that, I mean, what if the Bucs go to the NFC Championship game? You can't let go of Todd Bowles then. What if the Bucs lose the first round, but they score 60 points? Like there are so many factors that play into, do the Bucs keep Todd Bowles? Do they promote Liam Cohen? Can you convince Liam Cohen to stay an offensive coordinator and be the future head coach of the Bucs? There are a lot of moving parts to this conversation.
Like sands through the hourglass, these are the days of our lives. This is like a soap opera. It really has been. This has been a running soap opera. Is Liam Cohen destined to become the next Bucs head coach, or will he coach elsewhere in 2025? It's fun to talk about. It's like a suspenseful movie. It's a bit of a thriller, right? Is Liam Cohen going to stick around? We thought, because Dave Canales, Matt, you were at those press conferences too. He sounded like he was staying in Tampa, right? I mean, we asked him about it. He was more forthcoming.
He cried at the podium.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to do it for Todd. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
He cried at the podium and then went on to be the Panthers head coach.
And then said, see ya. And then, of course, that is the basis for my latest Pewter Pulse, which has been very well received. Thank you very much. Where I said, thank you, Carolina, because that decision ended up setting the Bucs' fortunes up for a big year offensively this year. It's one thing to jump from 18 points per game with Byron Leftwich to 21 points per game under Liam Cohen, I should say under Dave Canales, but to go from 21 points per game to just about 29 points per game, an 8-point jump under Liam Cohen, that's incredible. And you have to keep that guy. Have to, no matter what. Yeah. And how do they go about doing it? That's the other part of this saga that we'll talk all about in the offseason. We have another super chat from Bucs Basement. Thank you very much. Another $5 says,
But if he's gunning for a head coaching job, you promote him ASAP. His unit has carried this team while the defensive head coach's unit has floundered. So another thing I was thinking is, obviously, Bucs fans can be rooting for the Bucs on Sunday. They need to beat the Saints to get in.
Yep.
I feel like, I don't know who they're playing, but you got to be rooting for the Patriots on Sunday as well. Maybe a little momentum going into the offseason, being like, hey,
Yeah.
Gerard Mayo won this last game. But also, I believe, as it stands, after the Giants defeated the Colts, the Patriots have the number one pick. Now, they clearly don't need a quarterback. They have Drake May, but it's still a good spot to be in, having the number one overall pick. So you're probably saying, all right, Gerard Mayo, just keep doing what you're doing. Continue to lose games. It's one thing to go to the Patriots because, you know, it was his team growing up. He talks about how much he loves Tom Brady. But to go to the Patriots, Drake May, and then also you have the number one pick, which means probably getting Travis Hunter, or you're trading out of it and getting a boatload of draft picks. Typically not a great spot, but not the worst spot to be in if you're going to be a first-time head coach. Yeah,
as Rich was saying, though, like there's all the talent in Tampa. They don't really have it up in New England. But the thing is, that was his team growing up. He's from Rhode Island. He went to UMass. That's home for him. So there could be some appeal there. You already have the quarterback, as you mentioned, and Drake May up there. So then you don't have to burn your first-round pick on a quarterback. You have the guy to work with. And the most cap room by far, like $138 million. You can totally remake that team. So there would be some appeal there. When does Canales' contract officially end? Typically, assistant coaches are signing 2-year deals. That's typical, is they sign 2-year deals, even coordinators. If you're like a name coordinator, maybe you get 3, but it's typically 2-year deals for assistants. Coaches typically get 4 or head coaches get 4 with an option, a team option for the 5th year. That's kind of standard around the league.
There you have it. Drillman 32, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, I love the blitz game plan by the offense. The Cowboys exploited it. Liam adjusts well. So that's where the second quarter of doom kind of came into the mix a little bit, is the Bucs would start out so fast, so hot, points, doing everything, because it's the scripted plays. And then when you get off script and the defense would make a little bit of adjustment, that's where you saw the turnovers or punts and things of that nature. And then Liam goes, okay, this is what they're doing. Got it. Bam. This is how we counter it. So, I mean, Liam's a really good coach. And we've learned that early on. He's a great coach and a good leader, and that's why he's getting head coaching consideration.
Yep. Richie P with a very good comment here. And we need to marinate on this for a quick second. Does Bowles not get credit for bringing in Canales and Cohen? Yeah, he does. There's no doubt about it. He does. Right. He also gets credit from me for firing Byron Leftwich. And
yes,
I'll take the credit for that, because I called for Leftwich to be fired in season multiple times. Bowles finally did that at the end of the season. Thankfully so. But the problem is how many times can you go to the well, right? I mean, 4 offensive coordinators in 4 years, that's a daunting task. Not even just for Bowles as a head coach, but for the staff, right? Because if Cohen leaves, he's going to take most of the offensive staff with him, I would imagine. And then you're going to have a new offensive coordinator that wants his own guys anyway. So, and you don't want to have Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield and Graham Barton and all these players on offense to have to learn yet another system. Like, you want to have a foundation that you can build upon. Look at the Lions, most potent offense in the league, and Ben Johnson's been there for years. Look at Todd Monken in Baltimore. He's been there for 2 years now, right? You lay the foundation and you build upon it, right? So that's what you have to kind of get to. And the other thing too is he lucked out with Liam Cohen because Dave Canales got plucked by the Panthers. Do we feel like there's another Liam Cohen out there that's going to just automatically come in with his scheme and the point production per game is not going to drop? I don't know, man. Liam Cohen's pretty rare. I seriously doubt that the next guy is going to be as good, if not better, than Liam Cohen. That's just odds and probability too.
In 2022, Bucs fans were starving for a 30-point game. Now it's like, okay, maybe you get to 30 by the third quarter, but really it should be happening in the second quarter. Like that's where we've gone with this Bucs offense. So be difficult to let him out the door. We do have a Todd Bowles supporter here, and
there we go.
I love the difference of opinion from our Bucs fans. Makes for a good conversation. Spider-Man, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, to the Bowles haters, keep my coaches out your mouth. When the Bucs are in the playoffs, he gets the credit for both sides of the ball because he is the head coach. There's one more thing about Bowles and picking Liam Cohen. Earlier this season, it might have been when the Bucs were getting ready to play the Saints when they were in Tulane, because we were doing a lot of Zoom stuff then. And Bowles was asked about picking two great offensive coordinators with Dave Canales and Liam Cohen. He's like, oh yeah, I should play the lottery next. I should be picking some numbers and things of that nature. So Bowles does deserve some credit, but
he does.
If I were to push back a little bit by Spider-Man, I'd be like, well, what is Todd doing with the offense? Now, maybe him and Liam have conversations during the week that are like, hey, I'm trying this. What do you think about that? Things of that nature that we are obviously not privy to. But Todd has for the longest time said that he's hands off when it comes to the offense. He'll direct certain things, but it's mostly just, hey, I hired you to coach. You're going to coach and do your job. And Liam Cohen has. So I don't know how much credit Bowles should get for the offense.
I think he gets credit for hiring, for saying you're the guy, right? But for the most part, it's Liam on offense is running the show and Todd's running the defense, and therein lies a little bit of the problem because the defense, has played better down the stretch, but has not been wearing the superhero cape this year. That's really been the offense, And so that puts him in a little bit of jeopardy because let's say they have that home playoff game. Let's say the Vikings or Lions come in here and drop 30 on this team and the Buccaneers lose a shootout like 33-30 or something. That's not going to look good for Todd Bowles, right? If his side of the ball is not holding serve and keeping up. But listen, we need to get a couple promos in here, Matt, and a couple of housekeeping things here because tomorrow is New Year's Eve. We know there's a lot of college football and all that, and we respect that. So we're gonna do a show. Our next show is actually gonna be on Thursday. That's gonna be our Bucs Saints preview. Yeah, we're giving JJ Russell some love. Yeah, man, you scored on a block punt.
Yeah.
And you've unseated KJ Britt as the starting linebacker. So good for you, JJ. So Bucs versus Saints preview will be Thursday at 4:00. Adam Slavon and Matt Matera will be keeping you all up to speed on the latest injuries and previewing this matchup. It is still a must-win game alert because if the Bucs don't win, they're out of the playoffs. Unless the Falcons lose 2 to the Panthers, then they back themselves into the playoffs. So a wild and wacky Week 18 is on tap. The good news is we will have a Friday show, and it's going to be our Pewter Insider. Matt Matera and myself will be on there at 1:30 for our Pewter Platinum and Premier members. And the topic will be another big game for Baker Mayfield on tap. We'll talk about the prospects of Baker Mayfield lighting up the Saints on Sunday. And speaking of Sunday, we've got a couple of great shows on tap for you. Pewter pregame, which starts at 9:00. You guys have been great tuning in to our live shows every game day morning. And of course, it's on Sunday morning. And it's at 9 a.m. right here on Pewter Report TV. It's also streamed live on X and Facebook at Pewter Report. And then at 1:00, because that is the game time start, it will be Bucs versus Saints. Matt Matera, Josh Capo on deck for Pewter Game Day at 1:00 here on Pewter Report TV. You can check out all the action to that. So no Pewter Report post-game, or I should say podcast on Wednesday, because that's New Year's Day. That's a holiday, and we're going to be taking it off. We've been working hard for you guys all week long, but we'll have a Pewter Pulse video tomorrow on Pewter Report TV. Plus, we'll have plenty of stories and content on our website. So make sure you check out pewterreport.com if you're not already. We're inching closer to 17,000. We're over 16,600 subscribers right now. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, give us a like and a comment on our videos. We're going to go a little bit overtime today just because there won't be a show on Wednesday. We have a lot of super chats to get to. You guys are coming strong with the comments today. We want to get to those as well. And Matt, we've had a lot of participation in today's roll call too.
Yes, we did. Thank you, everybody, that came out for roll call today. We'll give a couple of specific shout outs. Richard Taroka, who's also a Pewter Report YouTube channel member, watching from San Gabriel, California, going a little international with Stephen Reed from Mildenhall, England, Victor Manuel Miranda, Santiago, Chile. Super cool to see. I don't know if
Very
we've had
cool,
a Chilean watcher before.
Yeah.
Bucking from sunny Tampa, Florida. Lutz from Kaiserslautern, Germany.
There you
Very
go,
cool. Derek Pilger from the Philippines. Dumaget, the Philippines. Bring out the ballot. Duck eggs, crunchy with feathers. Ducky, ducky, ducky. Of course, shout out to the duck that made the appearance at Raymond James Stadium. Brock Monroe, Western New Hampshire, right on the border of Vermont. Very cool. Michelle C. watching from Tallahassee. Go Knowles. Hopefully they have a better season. Cincy Kid from the Tampa Bay area in Florida. Then Chris Pope watching from New Zealand on this Victory Tuesday for Chris being over in New Zealand. Happy Victory Tuesday to you, Chris. Thank you for your support. And two more, Henry Gigante from Venice, Florida, and Anthony Kriakin from Southern California. So thank you to everybody for your participation in Roll Call. A lot of fun this afternoon. Yeah. We appreciate everybody.
We want to thank our new Pewter Report TV channel members who recently joined or rejoined. That's Christopher Oxentine, Bill Vincent, Richard Taroka, Christopher Counts, Rashad West, Michael Lamb, Grace Point, Wasp, Drizzt924, Frank the Tank, Jeremy McDonald, and Darius Miller. Thank you all so much for joining the Pewter Report TV channel membership crew. We want to give a shout out to all of our Pewter Platinum members as we do on each show. Scott Federico, Rathel Gordon, Noah Parr, Scotty J, Dave Anderson, Eric McMillan, and Zach Jarvis. You need to email me, all 7 of you. Email me at srpewterreport.com with your address so we can send you some Pewter Report merch. So again, Scott Reynolds, that's me. Email me at sr@pewterreport.com. Talking to Scott Federico, Rathel Gordon, Noah Parr, Scotty J, Dave Anderson, Eric McMillan, and Zach Jarvis. Because you are Pewter Platinum members, we're going to send you some free Pewter Report merch. Thank you so much for your support. And as always, we want to thank our Pewter Premier members too. It's quite a long list, so we'll let this roll. Thank you all for your support for Pewter Report this year. This is actually going to be our last show of 2024, but the great news is football season isn't over. We got a Pewter Report a podcast on Thursday, more content on Friday and on Sunday, and at least one more Bucs game, and hopefully a couple more. That'd be more fun. More football, the better.
Hopefully, what would it have to be? 4 more games? Yeah, 3 playoffs and the Super Bowl. Hopefully 4. Let's keep the super chats rolling. Thank you to everybody, and thank you to Trey Cloudier for the $4.99 super chat. Says Ducky Irving really quacked the Panthers defense open yesterday. Yeah, I mean, Bucky Irving against the Panthers, he's got to love playing Carolina. He was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week when they were in Carolina on December 1st. And then, yesterday he gets the Duck on the field. He said it was a good sign for his Oregon Ducks winning the college football national championship. And he had another really good game. Didn't reach the end zone, but essentially did everything else running and took a big screen pass down the field as well. So
43 yards.
Make sure to pencil in the over on all the yards for Bucky next season when he plays against the Panthers.
Yeah. And Mike Evans almost had 100 yards. He's got 5 100-yard games against the Panthers. He finished with 97. The good news from Mike is it puts him in contention now to get that 1,000-yard season this Sunday at Raymond James Stadium against the Saints, a team that doesn't have Marshawn Lattimore anymore, Matt. That's going to be interesting to see. And we've already seen Bucky Irving top 1,000 yards, and that happens on Sunday. And hopefully it'll be 1,000 yards for Mike Evans. He can do that as well on Sunday.
Paul Bowen, thanks for the $4.99 super chat, says, I think Cam Jordan and the Saints are going to go back to where the Saints were before Drew Brees got there, which was not a sight in New Orleans.
Listen, we have a greater appreciation for Drew Brees now than we ever have. And the reason for that is because he's a co-founder of an amazing restaurant that has 3 Tampa Bay area locations. It's the place that you want to be on every Victory Monday. It's a place called Walk-Ons.
What an amazing comeback, Coach.
Game day at Walk-Ons is just different. And it starts with the way our teammates prep each dish from our scratch menu. No shortcuts. We are hand-cutting every single mozzarella log straight from the block. Hand-peeling, stuffing, and bacon wrapping each voodoo shrimp. Hand-carving ribeyes for our steaks and po' boys. and hand slicing, then tossing our boneless wings and our house-made sauces. With wall-to-wall TVs and food like this, why would you want to watch anywhere else? That's game day, the walk-ons way.
That's right. It's happy hour right now at Walk-Ons until close. They have trivia at 6 o'clock, which is cool. Then it's Monday Night Football tonight. It's the place to be for happy hour. If you can't make it today, get there tomorrow. It's all-day happy hour, open to close at all 3 locations in Lakeland, Midtown Tampa, down there by the stadium where Matt lives. I live up here in Wesley Chapel. They got one over here across from the Outlet Mall, right off of 75. Great places to go watch the bowl games, college football playoffs, lightning hockey games, whatever. They have TVs galore and the best happy hours that feature $3 happy hour pours, $3.99 domestic pints, $4 house wine, $5.49 22-ounce domestic draft, and a bunch of inflation-busting priced food that is delicious and delectable. So make sure you get to Walk-Ons. You can visit walkons.com for more information, and make sure that you tell them Peter Report sent you.
Drillman32, thanks for the $5 super chat, says, if it's Cam's last game, we need to stack his photo under Drew Brees' last game, which, of course, put the Bucs on the path to winning the Super Bowl because they beat them in the divisional round. So hopefully history repeats itself in that aspect.
Mike Edwards picked off Drew Brees. His last pass was to a Tampa Bay Buccaneer in that 2020 divisional playoff loss to Tampa Bay in New Orleans. So fun fact.
It was. Thank you to Mike Edwards. Spider-Man, thanks for the $1.99 super chat, says, why wasn't Evans left in the 4th to get more yards? Because they want to keep him healthy.
Yes.
For the postseason.
Yeah. And the thing too is it's tough, right? Because we're on Todd Bowles. Why rest your starters, get him out of the game and all this, right? So you can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and say, hey, let's leave him in and see him rack up the yards. That's kind of what happened to Chris Godwin, and he got hurt. At this point in time, you want to accomplish both. You want Mike to get the record, and trust me, the minute he gets 85 yards, he is going to be out. This is not going to be one of those games where he has 200 yards. He is going to get the necessary yardage, and as long as the Buccaneers are winning, which they should be, he's going to be out. We've seen this before. He gets 1,000 yards, and he's out, whether the Buccaneers were in playoff contention or having one of those bad seasons under Jameis Winston. That's the objective. And there's been plenty of years Mike has gotten 1,000 or like 1,003 or 1,010 or whatever, and it all counts as long as you get over 1,000.
And he's dominating with all the touchdowns he's caught this year. He's in double digits. So Mike's having a great season, and the only thing that stopped him is his knee and hamstring injury that kept him out for a couple of games. Thanks to Bucs fan since Leroy63 for the $2 super chat. We appreciate it. And Steve Shoot, thank you for this $10 super chat. Says, is there any team in the NFL that has had more production from their rookies and second-year players than Tampa Bay has? Major kudos to the Bucs college scouting staff who keeps finding talent depth. Yeah, that's one thing. Like Jason, when he speaks, is usually like right around the draft a couple times per year. When it's draft season, he is the first person, before he even gets asked a question, he's like, I want to give a shout out to our scouts and everything with that nature. So Jason certainly appreciates what everyone else does in that front office.
No doubt. Yeah, I agree.
Lost my spot.
There you go.
Bucs fan since Leroy, 63, thanks for the $5 super chat, says, do you think with no Godwin, but with Otten, Durham, Culp, we see more 12 personnel, Irving, Evans, McMillan, plus 2 of the above?
Yeah, Matt, you did snap counts. They played a lot of 13 personnel in that game. As a matter of fact, I put in the Peter Report group chat. I wish I had the video clip where I'd show it. On the Payne Durham catch down the seam, the 32-yarder, I think it was, in the first quarter.
First drive of the game.
13 personnel. You had O'Keefe in the slot. You had Devin Culp out wide. And then you had Jalen McMillan in the backfield as a running back. You had Rashad White down, the running back, as a wide receiver, flanking O'Keefe. And then you had Payne Durham. And Liam Cohen had the audacity to run 4 verts with 3 tight ends, one of which was O'Keefe. Like, what are we doing? But it worked. It's crazy. Like, he had He had Devin Culp at the top of the screen running a vertical. He had Keefe running a vertical down the left hash. You had Payne Durham streaking down the middle of the field running a vertical. Then you had Jalen McMillan coming out of the backfield like a running back and running a vertical down the other hash. Then you had Rachaad White kind of being a dummy wide receiver, like a target to kind of suck the cornerback up. He literally just turned, looked at Baker Mayfield, was ready to catch a ball. He was a decoy. And then, boom, he hits Payne Durham down the stretch for a huge gain. And Baker, of course, said he would have scored if he was faster. I think he loves giving Payne Durham a hard time. But, yeah, I mean, the audacity to run 13 personnel, which is typically 3 tight ends, 1 running back, right? And it's 1 receiver. Yep. Mike wasn't even on the field. And to run 4 verts with that grouping and have a huge play out of it. It was crazy, crazy stuff from Liam Cohen. You got to love his creativity.
It's just so funny to think that's like, what, option D, E, or F for Liam Cohen?
Yes.
Of like what he wants to run on the offense? Like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, he's almost like, shit, will this work? Let's just throw it out there and see. Let's see how much we can get away with. It's crazy.
And what was the gain? 30 yards, and he got tackled at the 1 yard line. He scored a play later to Mike Evans. Like, they have so many options with what they can do, which, again, you would love to have Chris Godwin, but the Bucs will be okay if he's not back. Now, you've guaranteed he will be back, and I hope he is. I'm just saying, like, don't worry as much about Chris Godwin because the Bucs have a lot of answers in other spots. Thank you to Darnell Smith for this $4.99 super chat. Says, hey, guys, I love and appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. We love and appreciate you as well. Do you think this team can make a run in the postseason like the 2020 squad all the way to New Orleans where the Super Bowl is being played, not the New Orleans Saints because they are not going to the postseason? You know, I said before the year that I think the ceiling for the Bucs is the NFC Championship game. Yeah, I'm going to stand by that. Now, again, their offense is Super Bowl worthy, no doubt, Super Bowl caliber.
Yep.
I just don't think the Bucs defense can keep it together for 4 games to get to the Super Bowl. I think at some point it's going to break apart either by injury or just by lack of consistency. So I still think NFC Championship game is possible. It'd still be kind of difficult given the opponents in the NFC. But, I mean, this offense, what's not to love?
Yeah, I wrote about it in my 2-point conversion, which will be hitting pewterreport.com any minute if it hasn't been published already. I think that the biggest Achilles heel this team has is the turnover margin. We talked about it a little bit last night. They're -4, and that's easily the worst. In the NFC, well, first of all, the Bills have an absurd +23. Okay, they rarely turn the ball over, and they take it away like crazy. Okay, in the NFC, the top teams are like the Vikings. I think the Packers are +12, and the Eagles and Vikings are all like plus double digits, 10 or 11. I don't have the numbers in front of me. The Commanders are the worst outside of Tampa Bay. The Commanders are +2. The Bucs are -4. They just don't take the ball away enough, right? And so what happens is Baker Mayfield has to play perfect football. He can't turn the ball over. And you see what happens when that happens. No turnovers yesterday, 41 points on offense out of the 48, right? So, I mean, good things happen when this team doesn't turn the ball over. But the problem is, and we saw this in Dallas, they turned it over 3 times. Tampa Bay didn't get any takeaways on defense, right? That's what sucks about this team is the defense does not take the ball away nearly enough. Even against the Raiders, Bucs turned the ball over 3 times. What happened? They got 2 takeaways, right? It wasn't a 3-0 turnover margin in the other team's favor. It was 3-2, and the Buccaneers survived that because they're playing the Raiders, a bad team, right? So you don't mind being -1 against the Raiders. You still beat them by 15 points. But that's the Achilles heel is they don't take the ball away on defense to offset the fumbles, the interceptions, etc. But yeah, I'm with you, Matt. This is a Super Bowl caliber offense. I just don't know that they're as complete on defense as they need to be to go all the way. We'll see.
Yeah, and that's the big question down the stretch for sure. Thanks to Cincy Kid for this $5 super chat. Says the Oregon Duck came to Ray J on Sunday to celebrate and congratulate Bucky for hitting the 1,000-yard rushing milestone in a year. Yeah, and it wasn't even that Bucky got 1,000 yards. It was he did it like so early in the game. Like there wasn't even dramatic suspense or anything like that. He just dominated. And it was another great game from Bucky Irving. They're gonna ride him the rest of the season because when he's in, great things happen. So shout out to Bucky Irving. Shout out to that duck as well. Yep. I love that photo. Richie P, thank you for the $10 super chat, says, has Coach Bowles done enough to be in the Ring of Honor? I'm going to say no. I mean, as a head coach, he has a very pedestrian record. Yeah. I know Monty Kiffin's in the Ring of Honor for being a defensive coordinator, but typically franchises don't put a lot of coordinators in. Yeah. So I'm going to say no. He's very important. He's a chapter in the story of the Bucs and winning the Super Bowl in 2020 and what he did calling that defense in that Super Bowl game against the Chiefs. I think he's got to win a Super Bowl to be in the Ring of Honor.
He's got to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. And the thing you have to remember about Monty Kiffin too is he spanned 2 regimes. He was Tony Dungy's defensive coordinator. Then he was John Gruden's defensive coordinator throughout both of their entire terms. And Monty Kiffin won more games than any other Buccaneer coach in team history. Not head coach, any coach at any level, coordinator, assistant, head coach, whatever. He has more Buccaneer wins on his resume, may he rest in peace, than any other Buccaneer coach ever. And that's what got him in. That and the fact that he won a Super Bowl, but it was that notion that he is a defensive coordinator that spanned 2 different regimes, had the longevity and all the wins stacked up behind him.
Yeah, very, very true. It's not easy for a coordinator to stay with 2 different coaching staffs. Yeah. The way that the NFL works. Thank you to Luis Guerrero for this $9.99 super chat. Has a playoff format update. Says, we win, play the Packers. Seahawks beat Rams. Cowboys beat Commanders. Play the Commanders. Yep. Seahawks beat the Rams. Commanders beat Cowboys. Rams win. Yep. Play the loser of the Vikings Lions. Who would you prefer to us to play? Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned about beating the Saints. In terms of if the Bucs win, who would you rather them play? Man, I mean, the Vikings looked good yesterday, beating the Packers. Yeah. I'd probably say the Packers.
I would probably say the Packers,
There's something about playing the Lions with no defense. Yeah. I mean, not that they have no defense, but they're so injured there. Yeah. That maybe you fight fire with fire of just having a great offense. You hope that your offense outduels the Lions offense. Yeah. The Vikings are the last team I want to play. They have a great defense, and Sam Darnold showed he's good enough to keep it intact. So good question.
I'm with you. I think the Vikings are the least team that I would play out of all those. Yeah. I would say either the Packers or the maybe the injured riddled Lions. Yeah. Boy, if the Packers come here, sitting next to Adam Slavon, who grew up in Wisconsin, is going to be insufferable in the press box. I'm just telling you right now. Yeah. It is not going to be fun.
He went to Lambeau last year for that game, which was a great game for the Bucs.
It was.
Marty Diaz, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, per Colin Coward, all coaches are terrible with time management except for Bill Belichick. Do you agree?
Bill Belichick was.
There are a lot of. Yeah, I mean, Belichick's in his own class. Yeah. He's in his own category. I think there are a lot of coaches that can be better with time management. I don't know why they don't have an assistant coach that is just in charge of like when to call a timeout, what to do on these certain plays. Like, because I do it on the game day show. I do it when I'm watching other games that don't involve the Bucs. I'm screaming at the TV, being like, timeout, or don't call a timeout, like whatever the case is. Yeah. I don't get why they just don't have someone that says, hey, like, call it now. Hey, wait on it a little bit. Yeah, I think a lot of teams can improve.
Yeah, and if they do have that guy, I'm not sure who it is. We'll have to ask Bowles, but if they have that guy, he probably needs to get fired.
Yeah, that guy sucks. If the Bucs do have that guy on the coaching staff, he's terrible on his job.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
Shout out to Matt D. Thank you for
Matt
the $10
D.
Chat.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, Matt D. Matt Diamonds. The other Matt Diamonds. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday to you, Matt D. Hope you're having the best day and a great day and enjoying it all. I hope it's fantastic. It says, and the best gift I could get is a great win yesterday. This Bucs offense is a legit force. Can't wait to meet you guys on the cruise.
That's going to be fun.
Go Bucs. Matt D, the super chat of the day. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
so
birthday,
happy
man.
the Bucs won. And can't wait to meet. Looking forward to meeting you as well on the Tampa Bay Bucs cruise, which is the day after my birthday. So we can celebrate each other's birthdays.
That's right. We'll have an old-fashioned at the old-fashioned bar.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be fun.
Baby boy to demand. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Says if Cohen goes to New England, he'd try to sign Chris Godwin and would be willing to overpay.
Wow, I didn't think about that, man.
That is true. Damn. And Chris Godwin was probably like, I was having a career year up until I got injured with Liam Cohen. And Chris Godwin is a Delaware guy, so so he'd be back in the Northeast. So, damn. That hurt a little bit, baby boy to the man. I wasn't really thinking of that.
Got me right here. Yep.
Moving on. David Huber, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Says, took my son and wife to the game yesterday and almost nailed my 41-17 prediction. Hell yeah, David. Hope you and your family had a fantastic time. I'm sure you did. I mean, it was a blowout win for the Bucs, and glad you got to cherish that family memory. I mean, Scott, you had your kids at the game, so football is family, as they say.
It was fun. It was definitely one of those games where, if you were there in the stands, it was just like a roller coaster. It just was thrilling from start to finish. So many big plays. The Duck was there.
Then the rain came.
Yeah.
Then everyone's fighting for their life, getting through the rain. But overall, a good win for sure. Jeff Goodrich, thanks for the $1.99 super chat, says, do we match up against Detroit or Minnesota better with the injuries? This is a really good question, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but I honestly think Detroit, again, just based on what the defense, what isn't available for the Lions on the defense. I think that's the answer, as crazy as it sounds.
And also, too, I think the familiarity. I think that Todd Bowles, you'd like to think what happened in week 2 was not necessarily a fluke, that he's played the Lions enough where he's got a bead on what they want to do, and matching up against Ben Johnson. Gosh, he held the Lions to 16 points up there. And that was before the Lions had all these injuries to deal with, right? So, I mean, they were more at full strength and held the Lions, and they're building to 16 points. Understandably, teams get better and they grow as the season goes along.
For sure.
But that's a good sign, right? I mean, this would be the 4th time the Bucs have played the Lions in the last, 2 years, right? Three times already, once this year, twice last year. So you'd have to think that with that familiarity, you have a little bit of a beat on these guys. And so maybe that's helpful to Todd Bowles. And I like Liam Cohen against anybody right now. I mean, he is dealing. As Steve Shute says, he's
that's very true. And the Vikings love to bring the blitz, so I'd be a little bit worried about that for the Bucs offense. So
agreed.
I think the answer is the Lions. Steve Shute, thanks for the $5 super chat. Thanks for your participation today.
You come in large today, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate all this end of year love. Thank you very much to all of our super chatters. But Steve, you've rung the register today. Appreciate it.
Keep seeing you pop up. Steve says, Liam Cohen reminds me a little of Mike Martz with the way he calls games. He's truly a mad scientist. I will say there is a method to his madness, and I do like that it's unpredictable. It's like, the Bucs should run here. He's like, we're going to throw.
Yeah.
And you can't argue it. They're averaging 30 points a game. They just scored 48. Anything you want to say negative about the Bucs offense is just nitpicking. That's what it is.
Yeah. Matt, Pewter people, how many times over the past couple of years, whether it's Dave Canales or Byron Leftwich, have we seen by down and distance and by formation, we knew what was coming. It's going to be run up the middle. It's going to be a wide receiver screen to Chris Godwin, whatever it was. We knew. It was so predictable at certain instances week after week. I don't know what Liam Cohen's going to do. He gets in 13 personnel, runs 4 verts with 3 tight ends. I mean, come on. I don't know. He's in the pony package. Who's getting the ball? Which one's it going to be? Is it going to be a play action and a shot down the field to Mike and neither running back touches it? I don't know. And I love that about this guy. He's fun to watch. This offense is creative. It's never the same game twice. He is full of imagination. The collaborative ability he has with this staff is I haven't seen anything like it. I really haven't in my years in Tampa Bay. This is crazy good. Crazy good.
Yeah. Spot on. Everything flows. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Says odds we can re-sign Godwin. I like McMillan, but Godwin is on another level. We need a full year with Cohen, Baker, Ducky, Bucky, Evans, and Godwin.
Yeah. I've already said this before. I'll say it again for the people in the back. No, I'll say it again for everybody in case you missed it. Chris Godwin's coming back. It's going to happen.
Guaranteed.
Mark it down. He's going to re-sign with the Buccaneers. They're going to approach him with the contract. They're going to negotiate, and Chris Godwin will be back with the Buccaneers. And my guess is it won't even be a 1-year deal. I think they're going to give him a multi-year deal, maybe a 2-year deal, maybe a 3-year deal. I don't know what the terms are going to be. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know this. Chris Godwin will be back next year in Tampa Bay. Mark it down. Mark it down.
Book it. Book it. Yeah, if I'm Chris Godwin, I'm looking for at least probably a 3-year deal just for that sense of security. And I know the NFL, like, really all it comes down to is the guaranteed money. You can be cut at any time.
Well,
if I'm Godwin,
the reason I said 2-year deals because he'll be 29 in March. And
Correct.
He'll probably want 3 years. And I think the Bucs saying, listen, this is the second time we're going to give you a multi-year deal coming off of an injury where you've ended the season on injured reserve. First, it was the ACL. Now it's the dislocated ankle, which is not nearly as severe to overcome as the knee injury he had a couple years ago. So they could give him a 3-year deal. I don't know. Maybe it's a team option. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening. But the reason I say 2 years is because you can kind of justify it saying, Chris, we're doing you a favor here with the, you're coming off an injury. We're going to give you a multi-year contract, and we gave a similar deal to Mike for 2 years. So, because then you'll be 31, and then we'll kind of be, renegotiating and seeing where you stand at 31. See if you're as good as Mike is at 31. Mike's pretty good at 31. What we're seeing.
He is. No doubt about that. Thank you to Tyson C for this $4.99 super chat, who says, "Did we make up a contract for the Lucky Duck?" Apparently, I don't know what the next part is. Love the show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tyson, for the kind words. Yeah, I mean, the Duck is a phenomena at this point. Everybody loves the Lucky Duck. Jason Light was tweeting about it after the game.
Todd Bowles doesn't like it for whatever reason.
No, So as soon as we saw the Duck, one of the first things I thought of was, I can't wait to hear Todd Bowles talk about this Duck, because he's a very sarcastic guy. I know people don't see it all the time, but I'm like, he's going to have something funny or witty to say about the Duck. And then he pretty much said it today. I look at it like what do you say? The Flintstones or the Jetsons?
Or the Jetsons.
I look at it as a cartoon.
It's a cartoon. Yeah.
So, yeah, no nonsense for Todd Bowles. He's got a division to win.
Yeah. And also McMillan.
Fan favorite.
Yeah. Jalen McMillan does not like the Duck. Matter of fact, I don't think any of the Washington Huskies like the Duck, except for Joe Tryon Shawinka. He'd be the one who likes the Duck, because he's a Washington Husky that blocked a punt while the Duck was distracting everybody. So he might be the only Husky that likes the Duck. But Jalen McMillan, Kate Otten, Vita Vea, Greg Gaines, Devin Culp, all those other Huskies probably don't like the Duck as much as Bucky Irving does.
Just the timing of blocking the punt on the next play and scoring the touchdown. Like, it's a true where were you moment. Where were you when the Duck was on the field at Raymond James Stadium? A great moment, and it's fun. It's fun to have Bucs fans can talk about it.
Rampage 1328. What information does Scott have that makes him so confident in Godwin's return? We only have 25 million and a lot of needs. Well, I've only been doing this for 30 years, so I've got information. I've got some information. Just take me at my word. I'm usually right. I usually don't open my big mouth unless I'm right. I'm not always right. I've been wrong. I was wrong about Sunday's game when I said that I think the Panthers might beat the Bucs. But truth be told, I was trying to get a leg up on the competition here because we're all neck and neck with our pewter predictions. So I was trying to maybe, squeeze out a win at the team's expense to help my personal gain. Glad it backfired on me, and glad the Buccaneers won. But yeah, I've got some sources, I've got a lot of phone numbers in this thing. So, feel pretty good about saying that. Yeah. I also feel pretty good about saying Liam Cohen's going to be back too. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but I feel pretty good about saying that. So experience. Yeah, very political.
Well said.
Yeah, I have to be political. I can't reveal my sources and my methods and all that stuff. It's top secret, highly classified government, non-government information. So very, very sensitive information. So,
well, I think that's a good way to kind of end this thing. It's been a lot of fun on today's show. Just a reminder to everybody, no show until the new year. We'll be back on Thursday doing our Bucs vs. Saints preview. It'll be myself and Adam Slavon. We will have a Pewter Insider on Friday for you Pewter Platinum and Premier members. Thank you for your support. And then, of course, the Pewter pregame show at 9 a.m. on January 5th on that Sunday. And the Pewter Game Day show with myself and Josh Capo at 1 o'clock for Bucs vs. Saints. The Bucs win. They are in the postseason and will be the champions of the NFC South once again. So still a lot of content coming up. We'll have plenty of articles on pewterreport.com as well, things on our YouTube channel. So in the meantime, if you're not already doing so, please follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video as well. We appreciate all the support. And as Kells 808 says, Happy New Year's, Pewter people. That is right. Happy New Year, good health, and good fortune to everybody. If you're making a resolution, feel free to leave it in the comments as well. So thank you, everyone, for your support. We really appreciate it, and that'll do it for us on today's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you soon in the new year for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Peace out, 2024.